Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
for all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
Happened in 49, 61, 63 or 69 when they reached the final. But the class of 2021 have delivered. Leicester City are FA Cup winners at last and are history makers at Wembley.
They have blown their rivals away. They have blown us all away in truth. Premier League champions 2016. The amazing Leicester City!
Till I Die TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
Right, Chris.
All right there, all right at the back, as it says here. We move that way. How the devil are you? I hope you're well. If you fancy one of these or one of those, or any Leicester Till I Die merchandise, go to the website www.leicestertillidie.com/shop. And there's a full selection of merchandise available there. I'm not available on there, but, you know, make me a direct offer and I need the money. I need the money. Thanks for listening. If you are on your favourite podcast platform, that's just going from strength to strength. And thanks to anybody that's watching on YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube and you've not subscribed, please give us a subscription. It would be very good. And I know. I'll look at that in a minute, Craig. You've just sent me something just as we went live. It is back. We've got the Premier League football back. England, obviously, the World Cup was drawn earlier. We did the live watch along with that, and we've got a couple of shows coming up for the World Cup. But this is the important stuff, isn't it? This is the Premier League, and yeah. Well, this is where you can watch us.
Watch us on YouTube. Listen on your favourite podcast platform. Or ask your smart speaker to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Broadcasting live worldwide.
I don't know how I feel about this game, to be honest with you, because I feel it could be a good time to play Man United, but then they're probably sat there thinking this could be a good time to play Leicester City. Well, let's get my guests in and we'll see. The ever youthful, the man, the myth, the legend that is Craig. Good evening, sir. How the devil are you?
I'm good, thanks, Chris. How are you doing? Hi, everyone.
Yeah, not so bad, not so bad. Now, what were you just sending me just so I was going live?
Yeah. So,
is it? Yes.
Gareth Farley, Man United, and Brendan.
Yes.
Man United Leicester thing. But we were just talking off air about the sensibility of Leicester fans, and what he does in that perfectly encapsulates what I think about Leicester fans at the moment. So I don't know if you can play it through, but if you can. It's worth watching.
I think I can't do it live because I think I would get a strike against me. So I will listen to it myself later. Yeah. But he is good. He is.
Yeah. Before you bring Darius in, I must again say hello to my great niece Annabelle, who's probably watching and gets very excited when she hears her name. So hello, Annabelle.
Hello, Annabelle. Welcome along. And how the devil are you, Annabelle? That is the question. Let us know. You mentioned Darius there. Now, I know you're going to find this hard to believe, everybody, but this actually, I've been able to find a sensible Man United fan. You didn't think they were about, but they are. Darius, good evening, sir.
Hello, everyone. Delighted to be on tonight. Pleasure to be here talking to some fellow football fans. I wouldn't know about being a sensible United fan, but I appreciate the introduction.
Well, to be honest, I suppose sensible, more realistic. You're not. I mean, Craig, you were just talking about Leicester fans, and a bit of success goes to everybody's head, I suppose. But
it does. I think in the opposite way with Man United and essentially so-called bigger teams. Let's be fair to them. Once they don't have a little success, then they get a little bit the other way as well. So for them, a lack of success is not making top four. And now it seems for Leicester City, not making top four is the same kind of thing. Yes. Everybody goes mental, but hopefully, it'll be a sensible discussion.
Well, talking about going mental, good evening to Richard. How the devil are you? I was just on Jake's channel, West Ham Unofficial. Give it a check out. Great lad. Giving a bit of banter between one another. Enjoy your time standing in for Leicester, Richard. You're just keeping the toilet seat warm for us, as they say. And LDH, good evening, Chris. And the Flirty Fox. Wow.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hello.
Anything you want to share with us?
No, you started that, Chris. You called me that the other day.
I didn't think it would. Well, I guess I knew it would stick. Darius, I mean, Man United. What's going on this season?
It's quite difficult, really, to sort of express my bemusement, my anger, and all the different emotions that I'm feeling about our season. Last season we finished second, and we had it was COVID football. Sorry, excuse me. It was COVID football, so it was different. Right, it's like a recognisable form of football, but it wasn't football without the fans. And we signed Varane, Ronaldo, Sancho, the big one, Tom Heaton, and it looked like it looked like we might, not that we were gonna like walk the league or win the league, but that we might be involved in the sharp end of the season. And now we're out of all competitions. The season is dead in the water, in my view. I can't see us getting top four, and we have a sort of like an office manager from Germany, like as our manager, with a divided and quite frankly ferociously uneducated social media audience, demanding unknown managers, slagging off like in my view quite well respected managers. We've got players that seem to have chucked two managers under the bus now. It's very sad times at United, but we're a club that's built on hope and rebirth, and we need a lot of hope.
Yeah, I mean, David Brent, does it remind you of him?
David Brent appeared to have a sense of humour. Like since he was essentially like the Peter principle in action, where a man is promoted to a level beyond his competence. There is a similarity there with Ragnick. I'm not a fan of Ragnick, and I don't see any evidence to change my mind.
I mean, Craig, we've spoken about United all season. I think a lot of people have, like this, like Man United fans say, they live rent free in everybody else's head. But how can a club that is supposedly run by businessmen who run clubs, sports clubs and what have you in America, sack a manager who had just got them, as Darius said, to second? Employ a manager on a temporary basis because they can't get who they want until the end of the season, allegedly. And now they're sitting sixth place. So they've actually replaced what they had. And I can understand them getting rid of him because I said at the start of the season, if Ollie doesn't do something with this squad, then he'll be gone. But they've replaced him with somebody who's doing worse than he was.
I mean, looking in from the outside, it's a bit of a joke and great fun to watch, to be honest.
Sorry, Darius.
Yeah, but I'd hate it if it was my club doing it, but it does seem bizarre that you've got these people, as I say. It seems like so-called wealthy business people, when they come into football, they check all their business acumen at the door, and it all gets thrown out, and they try to please everyone. They try and please their own ego. They try and please the fans in some way by buying a pick and mix of players, rather than and looking at what shirt sales they may get on the back of it, rather than giving the power to a head of football or a manager, which used to be the case back in the old days when football was football. And now it just seems that they've got no clear direction, other than a fantastic history. But let's not forget that history's only been built over the last 30, 40 years. Yes, going back there was some, but there was some dark days for you guys going back into the old second division as it was back then. So it's been a basically fairly recent self-appointment as the biggest club in the world. And now there's some tough times coming, and Man United fans, the majority, I won't class you in that, Darius, don't know what to do. It's like they're experiencing football like 90% of football fans experience it.
But do you think, Darius, so many United fans probably weren't born before Alex Ferguson was leading you? And I've got to say, and give you total credit, when Alex Ferguson was there, my God, you were brilliant. You swept everybody away in front of you, and you deserved everything you got. But you can't carry that on forever and ever. I grew up in the 70s when Liverpool were the big club, and to be fair, Man United were only maybe like a Spurs Arsenal at the moment. And then when Liverpool dropped off, it's taken them 30 odd years to get back. And are Man United, like we said before, are you perhaps expecting too much?
All right. Well, there's quite a lot to unpack from from that. I suppose the place to start off with is United sort of like being the biggest club in the world. Despite the fact that for myself, certainly in the sort of current generation fans, that we've only known success. The great thing about any football club, not just Man United, is it's a sort of connection to the past. It's like maybe not the case for all United fans, but for myself, like my family has been watching Manchester United and Newton Heath for over 100 years. Like there are like great uncles I've never met, but I know they went to Old Trafford, and I know that they saw the same football team that I see, and that they appreciate and they connected with the values that Manchester United are meant to portray, that come from all the way back to the Peter Lee massacre, the sort of the socialist foundations of Manchester. And this is what Manchester United has always been to me. It has been an expression of values that represent my community. So winning always comes second to those values for me. Like I don't know how true that is of all United fans. I get pelters for that quite often. But I believe that a football club should serve the community and reflect the values of the community. I feel that is lost on the sort of. I don't want to disparage anyone who supports a football club. I think we can all agree I should be in charge of how people support football clubs, but I'm not, and it's not my place to tell people how to support their team. But it has turned into sort of like winning at all costs now. And a win done the right way as a collective means far much more than what I see at clubs such as City, presumably Newcastle and Chelsea, who I believe have sold out their traditional values for like the league. What else did you ask? Sorry, I've completely lost myself in an idealistic like.
I think you basically covered it all there, but. I'll come to Craig first, and I'll ask you the same question as well, and Darius. And like I said, Craig, sensible Man United fan here. But Craig, is this a good time for them to be playing us? They haven't beaten us in 4. We're 4 unbeaten against them, 3 wins and a draw, including the cup. they must be looking at Leicester and thinking, look at the season they're having. But we beat them, earlier in the season, but it was under a different manager.
Yeah, true. I would think they'd be confident going into it. I mean, unless the rules of football have changed and you're still allowed to have corners. So, they've got to be confident from that point of view. So I think both teams will be going in fairly well rested. I know players have been away on international duty. Some have played more games than others. A lot of it was friendly football, apart from those who were trying to qualify. So I think both squads will be pretty well rested, and I think they'll both be up for it. And as you say, last time out at Old Trafford, we put up a good performance, but it was, behind closed doors. So, with a full house behind you, it's one of those things, isn't it? The problem is, fans are great when things are going well, and they can be a real burden when they're not going well. Particularly vociferous fans, like they can be. They can get on your back pretty quickly if we start well, and you can quieten the crowd down a bit. But I think Man United will be confident playing us. We've not been great this season, to be honest. Overall, we've played well in patches, but likewise, Leicester will be fairly confident as well of playing an inconsistent Manchester United.
I mean, that's it, Darius. I mean, Craig just said then, we've not been great this season, and no disrespect, we still beat you 4-2. Is this a good time to be playing Man United?
I would think so, yes. The club is in a sort of like a stagnant limbo at the moment, with very little clarity on who the manager is. We appear to be running our next managerial appointment as if it's like X Factor or something, with a very public interview process that has led to further splits in the fan base. And I also wouldn't be confident. The squad has never been like more divided. I'm sure that whilst a lot of you are probably quite rightfully enjoying the Schadenfreude of what's going on at United, I can't imagine that many true football fans are enjoying what's going on with Marcus Rashford after his off the field work to better the community, and then arguing with his own fans publicly, an incredible loss of form. It's pretty symbolic of what is happening with our squad. And then furthermore, like, it's been a long time since we've seen any football. And what that begins to mean is that Rodgers, who I quite like as a coach, has had 3 or 4 weeks to plan for one match. Right, Rodgers has been like elite level football for quite some time. Rangnick has spent 1 year in the last 10, like in any form of elite football. So I'm extremely worried about how much like preparation by a better manager Leicester have had.
Yeah, I get what you mean there, but I mean, why do you think? I mean, there was a time, wasn't there, when Man United, and like I say, total respect to Man United, they'd have knocked on a club's door, said, "We want your manager," and that manager would have been walking barefoot over broken glass to get to you. And now you've got to have a caretaker in who, I mean, you've got so many superstars there, but they're not a team, are they?
No, I mean, I think I'm not necessarily against a sort of a long interview process. I think a lot of United's problems since Fergie have been down to a matter of succession, where the Moyes appointment, unfortunately, it was the wrong choice. It happens. It seemed to be driven on sentiment and imitation, and a desire for a sort of a figure like Fergie to continue to be at the club for sort of 10 years, to these sort of Glaswegian working class traditions. If it's worked before, it must work again, was sort of the idea. Yeah. And it didn't. And as we got in sort of like different styles from our managers, with like Van Gaal and Mourinho and obviously Ollie, we got like saddled with massive legacy costs, where some players are ill-suited to to new styles of football and like new managers. Like, for example, David De Gea was an exceptionally good keeper under the Mourinho and Van Gaal systems. He in today's football, as much as De Gea is an excellent shot stopper, I'd be very surprised if he could get in more than 3 or 4 teams in the Premier League, because he's not good enough as a modern goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So I don't mind us taking our time trying to get an appointment right, because we've got so many things wrong in the past that it's probably quite sensible just to sit back and take our time, have a breath, and then try and plan so that we don't end up like Liverpool, we don't end up like Arsenal, and we can maybe get back to challenging within, 4 seasons.
I think the next appointment is very, very important for you. But before we get on to the match, I mean, one thing that links us, there's 2 clubs, Craig, Harry Maguire. And I want to talk about him and get it out the way. Thank you for the 80 million and the new training complex. No refunds, no returns, as they say. I mean, what did you make of him being booed when he's wearing an England shirt?
I thought it was ridiculous, to be honest. Whatever you think about his performances for Man United, and to be honest, I think only Man United fans have a right to boo him, even based on that. Someone said on the radio, it said, if you're booing him because he's played poorly for Man United and you're not a Man United fan, surely you should be cheering him that he's playing so badly for Man United. I don't get it. He's not really let England down. Everybody has a dodgy game or a period in a game, but I didn't like it. And I'm not happy with Leicester fans as well, almost trying to rewrite history as if he was terrible for us. He was a very good player for us.
He was, totally.
Yes, we got more money for him than we thought we would, and maybe more than he was worth. But he was the backbone of our back line at the time, and he rarely let us down. So, I don't like this this sort of trying to rewrite history of that he was poor for us, because he wasn't.
Totally wasn't poor at all, and we've got fans. We've got to be careful what we say here, because not so long ago we were booing Vestergaard when he came on.
Yeah, I mean, and that'll happen again. I think Harry Maguire is just symptomatic of being in a team that's playing with a lack of cohesion and a lack of confidence. When he played for Leicester, he felt comfortable in coming out with the ball, that he knew he had a solid team around him who would cover in behind him. They were he knew who he was playing with week in, week out. So you play with confidence and you try things. The trouble is, everything at a bigger club like Man United is magnified. So if you make a mistake, it's magnified. It becomes a much bigger thing. And I think there's no bad players at Manchester United. You don't get to Manchester United if you're not a good player. What we've seen, though, in over the past few years, with certain players moving and not playing particularly well, is even at the elite level how important confidence is for an individual, for a footballer. And I think he's just playing without any confidence at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, when he was at Leicester, he broke into the England team. He scored in a World Cup whilst he was at Leicester, and Manchester United came along, his boyhood club, and paid us 80 million. So at that point, he was good. Darius, is it time maybe for him to be taken out of the spotlight, kept away for a couple of weeks, and how are the fans going to react to him? Because I'm sure Leicester fans will have a go at him, because he's an ex-Leicester player, and that always happens. But will the Man United fans get behind him? Because, we don't see a lot of support from him on social media and what have you.
Yeah, I think United fans will get behind him. Like, United have a very troubled history with the England football team, with David Beckham obviously being the most famous case. Shout out to Nippon. I think the thing with Harry Maguire is that there's no way around it. His opinion has turned on Harry Maguire with match-going fans in the last 6 or 7 weeks. Social media has never really liked Harry Maguire. For various reasons. I think he's a very good centre back. I still think he's our best centre back, and I still think we have a better chance of winning with Harry Maguire in the team. There's questions over his captaincy. Personally, I think it's very difficult to get a sort of a Robson or a Keane. I'm not sure. Was Wes Morgan a captain for you?
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe even far back as like that Matty Elliott guy. I mean,
you mean the famous Scottish international?
Yeah. The one that had fun with Bergkamp in the greatest 3-3 of all time.
Yes.
But with Harry Maguire, a lot of the issues I think are about two players in particular, and they're David De Gea and Bruno Fernandes. Where I'm very into heat maps. I'm that kind of guy, and there is a massive gap in front of Harry Maguire that Bruno Fernandes should be filling. We've just had Bruno Fernandes sign a 5-year contract, and I was pretty shocked when I ventured onto Twitter this morning to see that it hadn't been met with universal acclaim. That United fans are now beginning to see a lot of the issues with Bruno Fernandes, which is that he gives the ball away. I'm sure as rival fans, he's one of the most annoying players in the Premier League because he's just constantly crying about how unfair everything is. I can imagine he's not popular, especially when he somehow manages to score winners after the match has ended, like at Brighton.
We're used to that at Leicester, aren't we? Going against us.
But I mean, for me, I don't care about England very much. I'm a Manchester United fan. I'm not really an England fan. And there you go. There's Nippon. There's a real England fan. He's made so many mistakes for England, hasn't he, Nippon? I think Harry Maguire has been England's best performer and most important player for two tournaments.
I mean, this is it totally. I mean, I know Southgate says he only picks players that are on form, and obviously Harry isn't on form for United, but he's never let England down, has he?
I'm not really qualified to answer that, I'm afraid.
No.
But I'm going to say, as I said earlier, in my opinion, he's not. He's been what you would class as solid. Is unspectacular, but he can get people around him. He can raise the game of other people when he's feeling confident, and there is passion in him. You see it when he scores. When something happens. But I mean, he makes some poor decisions, but then a lot of people do that, and I think he's suffering at the minute with a lack of other like-minded people at Manchester United. I don't know. I mean, you watch them more than I do, but they look like that. I mean, it sounds stupid, but a team of individuals. There doesn't seem to be many people who are there who you would want to in the trenches with you, as it were. There's a few. I really like McTominay, to be honest. He seems like a player who plays for the badge. I'm not sure there's many others that do, but I would class Maguire in that.
I'm absolutely shocked to hear someone say they like McTominay. I'm probably known on most Manchester United channels as being McTominay's biggest fan for those reasons, and I'm met with a lot of derision and jeering from people. But Scott McTominay, to me, is an absolutely fantastic player, represents the values of my football club. And whilst he has some limitations, he is, alongside Maguire, he's probably been our best performer for 2 or 3 seasons. His midfield partner Fred is another one who sacrifices himself for the team. He is more limited, Fred, but that midfield has got us third and second. And a lot of it is off hard work and graft and like sacrificing for the others. The other one, strangely, is Ronaldo. I was not expecting this Ronaldo when he came back. He works for the team extremely hard, and he's not being used correctly because he is the greatest goal scorer in football history. And he's been played as a sort of link man, sort of false nine, which seems crazy to me. But this is Ragnick ball, and I just really hope that at the weekend we get a good reception for Harry Maguire, because he is the only centre back we have at the club that is even remotely in the mould of a United centre back who attacks the ball.
Yeah.
Like Varane doesn't attack the ball, Lindelof doesn't attack the ball. Maguire goes and wins here, and sometimes, I don't know if it's a lack of quality or pressure or whatever, he does make like some odd decisions, but you have 4 other players in your defence, including the goalkeeper, that should all be working for each other and covering each other and sniffing out danger. And I'm perfectly happy with Harry Maguire in the team. And as a captain, I would prefer McTominay as captain, just because he's one of our own. Like Harry Maguire, he's a Hull boy, a Sheffield boy. Like McTominay is Manchester. So I'd like him to be my captain.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're in agreement there.
And is this the first season? I think I've read this somewhere, but I could be totally wrong. The first season that Ronaldo's not going to win a trophy.
Yeah, for about 10 years.
Yes, yeah. But I mean, like you said, I mean, Scott says, do you think Man United would do a straight swap Maguire for Vestergaard? I'm going to be honest. I think Everton, for some reason, are interested in Vestergaard, which probably says a lot about Everton. But I've got to be honest with you, when he came on the other night, he had a very good game against Rennes. He did what he had to do. And again, I think for me, Vestergaard, and we've discussed this, Craig, haven't we? He's coming to a side where he doesn't know who he's going to be playing with week in, week out. He has to be introduced to his new centre-back partner every week, find out who's fit. And he's coming to very difficult. And I don't think Rodgers has helped him with some of the times he's brought him on. But I'd like to give him another season. He scored midweek. What can we say? But we have a small match of a game this weekend. Manchester United versus Leicester. It is the late Saturday kickoff, so it's live on Sky, 5:30 there at Old Trafford. This is what happened. We discussed it briefly earlier, what happened earlier in the season. You were there, Craig, your memories of that?
Yeah, I mean, it was a really good game. I thought we played really well. Early on, it was pretty much end to end. But we played very well in that game. We hadn't been playing well, but for some reason, we'd got ourselves up for it. And it was really disappointing when Rashford ran through and equalised, basically out of nothing. Great pass and a great finish. But the way that we came back from the kickoff, was just one of those fantastic moments. Luckily, we've had a few great moments against Manchester United down here. The 5-3, I noticed, was shown again on Sky the other night and will be one of the greatest games of all time down at the King Power. But we played well in there, and I think we were worthy winners, to be honest. And you could see, again, it was the reaction from some of the Manchester United players. You could just about see some of the players when Vardy's goal went in, the reaction of them. Bruno, his reaction was throwing his arms up again like he does. And they seemed a fractured team at that point, and I don't think there was any way they were going to come back again. So it was a great game, great atmosphere, and I'd very happily take a 4-2 victory again.
Of course we would. I mean, Darius, for us, certainly for me as a Leicester fan, it was one of our many false dawns this season, because we looked at these games and thought, this is the game where we're going to draw the line and move forward, and it hasn't happened yet. And every time we seem to get one player back, 2 more get injured. I mean, what are your memories of the game?
I don't have a great memory for football matches, to be perfectly honest. Even ones that are bad.
The ones that you lose. Is that what you're saying?
This one I do remember, because it's it's just classic ineptness from any football team to concede a goal like from a kickoff. It's something that you'd be gutted if your school team did it, or like if your under 11s managed to perform in this carnival of nonsense where like Jamie Vardy gets in to score. Was it 20 seconds? from kickoff.
If that,
that. And it was because it's. I mean, football's always a roller coaster where you're like. I think you're right. From my memory of the game, it did feel pretty undeserved to be 2-2, and I remember thinking, right, well, we go and win this now. And then Jamie Vardy scored and was like running around, and I couldn't believe it. And the team did like many times this season. The team has given up. And it did feel that like they'd given up there. And you look at our goal scorers and their fortunes at the moment. And it's not great. But I suppose that like from a United fan on Leicester's like injury crisis, might not be the best time to be crowing about your £80 million training complex if all these injuries are stemming out from it.
Give us something to cheer about this season. You know?
I think it's great to cheer medical facilities as a football club. There's
not a lot we can cheer about, but
Well, if you listen to self-confessed Manchester United saviour Gary Neville, you need a new Old Trafford, you need a new training ground, you need this, that, and the other. I'd be interested to know what a Manchester United fan's view of Gary Neville is.
Well, I think, I don't know if people remember this, but many years ago, when Rio Ferdinand missed his drugs test and sort of got done for doping, I think that Gary Neville tried to lead an insurrection in the England football team. Yeah, Gary the Red. I like Gary Neville. He's quite clearly got Manchester United's best interests at heart. I think he's far too idealistic in unfortunately modern football, like with the Glazers and so on. The club has to be run as a business. If you look at Newcastle United with Mike Ashley, whilst his ownership was like torturous for Newcastle United fans, it was run pretty sensibly. You don't want to be in situations like Derby, Darlington, where Leeds, like many years ago, it was almost 20 years out of the top flight. It has to be run sensibly. His 5-point plan is, to be frank, it's ridiculous. But I think like Gary Neville has the best interests of Manchester United at heart, and I like him.
I think Gary got a lot of support from non-Man United fans of the way he came out so quickly and ferociously against the ESL.
He did,
and I say credit where credit's due, and he's got a wicked sense of humour. But those are the stats as we look at them there. I mean, I do like the bottom right, the previous meetings, 4-2 and 2-1, the right way round. But there's 4 places between us, but there's a lot of points between us, and that's the worrying thing, although we have got a couple of games in hand. I mean, Craig, looking at our form going into this match, we look at the last 5. Wolves, I think we deserve something from that game. Burnley, we snuffed out their mini revival. We killed that off. Leeds, they had the new manager syndrome, and we did what we needed to do. Wasn't pretty at times, but we got the 3 points. Arsenal, I think Arsenal were just on the up, to be honest with you. And then, well, you had 3 goals of the season in one game against Brentford, didn't you? But again, that's a game, I feel, along with the Leeds one, that maybe 2 or 3 months ago we would have lost.
I think you're right. I mean, I've been a critic of our lack of bottle, for the want of a better phrase, in certain games this season. And I think there's a few times in recent games where we've showed that we do have a bit of fight. We are prepared to roll our sleeves up and throw ourselves in front of things. We did it against Burnley. We had to do it against Brentford. We did it against Leeds. And much maligned players of previous seasons like Daniel Amati, who's been fantastic, and great to see the fact that he and Ghana have made it through to the World Cup. Who's been fantastic this season for us. and prepared to throw himself in front of everything. And he's shown a lot of leadership qualities this season for me. He's stepped up. He's stepped up into that void that that Johnny Evans left, and that is my worry. That we just seemed a little bit like we may get settled. We're starting to get the players back. Fofana's come back. When he played alongside Amati, they looked pretty solid. Mm-hmm. We looked comfortable against Brentford, and then Johnny Evans was brought on, and all of a sudden it went to to pot again. Mm-hmm. So it worries me a little how he's going to manage that, because there's no way that Amati deserves to be dropped. Yet you get the feeling it's only a matter of time before he is, because Johnny Evans will be back in.
Totally agree with. I know you're not Evans' biggest fan.
That's not a statement.
But yeah. I mean, Amati, up until last season, he was the joke player, wasn't he? And he for me this season is the most improved player. If there is an award for that, for me personally, he would get it. And I think we're going to see the same possibly with Mendy, replacing with Ndidi being out for the rest of the season. But yes, I agree. For me, it should be Fofana and Amati. And Johnny Evans, I like him, but don't change it just for the sake of changing it. If it's working, don't fix it. Talking about things working, Darius, I mean, apart from the Man City loss, and to be honest with you, that probably hurt more because it was Man City. I know it did for us when we lost to Forest in the Cup. But apart from that, you're sort of unbeaten in the last five or so, apart from that one game. And that's everybody's losing to Man City on and off, aren't they? But how do you feel with your form? I mean, thanks very much for beating Tottenham. That's always thank you for that. And but you're not. There's games there every now and again. I mean, you beat Brighton 2-0, and all that there on the slide. But at the end of the day, they have been playing well. 4-2 against Leeds, and then Watford come along, and there seems to be that game with Man United every now and again that just kind of you think you're getting there, a bit like Leicester, and then suddenly, you should have been beating teams like Watford, shouldn't you?
Yeah, 100%. I would just like to come back to something you said there, where, like, from an outside point of view, Daniel Amati has been one of the best centre-backs in the league this season, from what I've seen. Like, I was intrigued to see what Leicester fans, how they see him. But of all of your, like, central defenders, he would be the one I'd want to pinch. As much as I'd like Johnny Evans back at the club, like, I think Daniel Amati is an excellent player, and Leicester should 100% be building around him, as a centre back. But that's an outside opinion. Right, let's look at these form tables. United 3, Tottenham 2. That was Cristiano Ronaldo rolling back the years and refusing to just accept the nonsense going on at the football club. During the week, it had been leaked by several sources that Rangnick wanted Ronaldo out, and he responded with a hat trick, and it was fantastic. We all know what Tottenham are like. Like, anything could turn up at Tottenham. They're the most capricious team the Premiership has ever seen. City versus United was a disgusting performance that sickened me. It's okay to lose or draw football matches. We're all football fans. We've all watched and played football. We understand these things happen. The team gave up. At halftime, we had a chance. The first 30 minutes, we actually battered City in that game. They were completely taken aback at how we were playing. And then Pep made a few tweaks, but it started to go against United. Started to go against Bruno Fernandes, and the team just capitulated like 6-year-olds being denied an ice cream. It was awful. Watford game, poor tactics. Leeds play, I don't know what they play, but it's not football. It's some sort of cartoon version of it that you can't leave spaces against players. of the quality that Man United report to own, you're going to get hammered. And Brighton, I was actually quite impressed when I play it with the Brighton team. Graham Potter seems to be a manager that I think a bigger club should take a risk on. But our form hasn't been great. We haven't put in consistent performances as a team. It's mainly been like the efforts of individuals and the sort of the drive to succeed from players like McTominay and Ronaldo. It's a disjointed football club with poor performances.
Just on an aside there, sorry, Chris. You mentioned Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Will he be there next season?
100%.
You think?
Yeah. Where's he going to go?
Well, I don't know, but the thing, looking from the outside, Ronaldo appears to be a guy who plays with passion. You know, this guy's he sets the bar for everyone else around him. You know, you've only got to look at him. You know, there's few people, me, Chris, Ronaldo, who have looked after our bodies, you know, in the same way.
Of course.
Yeah. I assume you have, Darius, and you don't want to show everybody and get them jealous. So, but Ronaldo also seems to me someone who likes records, and the fact that he's not going to be playing in the Champions League next season for the first time, I don't know, I can't remember the last time it happened. But that, in the back of my mind, just puts a little question mark over whether he's going to stick it out.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting point, and it's one that I see echoed a lot. But for me, there's a couple of reasons why I can't see him leaving. The first is it's his last World Cup coming up in November.
Yeah,
I think even Ronaldo must realise it's his last World Cup. He's not going to be playing in a World Cup at 42, surely.
He'll probably be managing.
Yeah, he'll be doing something.
Yeah.
But and I think that preparation is obviously key to that man. Like it's it is a bit. Sometimes it's a bit annoying. Like, I was at Newcastle away, and he just legged it down the tunnel, and I wanted to wave. Like, I'm that kind of guy. I need grown men to wave at me and acknowledge me to feel good about myself. But he's legging it into some sort of cryogenic bath or something to prepare himself. So I would think that Ronaldo is now looking at the World Cup as his next trophy and preparing for it. Yeah. I'm not sure if a move is conducive to that. The second one is you talked about records. I don't think Ronaldo's records. I think Ronaldo's legacy. He's got all the records. It's now about his place in history. And what a crowning achievement it would be for him if he could bring Man United back. A man with pride such as him, I think that it would be a stain on his record if he went back to Manchester United, the club where he made his name and where he basically became the best player in the world. I'd agree if you say he went on to be a better player at Real Madrid, but he was the best player in the world at United. It was the makings of him. I don't know if a man like Ronaldo can leave Manchester United with the job undone, with such an eye on his legacy and things. I can't see it happening. And lastly, there's the financial aspect. Well, I'm not sure he's going to get that wage at any other club. He's not sharing the spotlight with Messi. He's not going to China or wherever. He's not going to any club.
He's a competitor.
Yeah, would he go to Bayern Munich? Can't see them swapping him for Lewandowski. Where else is there? I just can't imagine him in anything but the red shirt next year.
It's a good point. I always wonder. I'm sorry for my phone going there. I've told Brendan do not ring me during the show, but he's ringing for advice. I always think with Ronaldo, was he a player that you really wanted or needed, or did you get him just to stop him going to the blue half of Manchester?
Well, there's two sort of reasons, and I fully support both of them. One is that Ronaldo, I don't really care if you think Messi is the best player of all time or Maradona or whoever. Ronaldo will always be in that debate as the greatest player ever. He's a legacy player, and the club have to protect his legacy at Manchester United. If he goes to City, we lose out on genuinely hundreds of years of being able to flog merchandise with him, like in the megastore. And I know it's very cynical, but it's a sensible business decision. The second one is it's Cristiano Ronaldo. He's like, he's my idol. He's made me so happy over the years. You can't turn him down. Like you can't, because it's a series of what ifs, and rather like going back to an ex-girlfriend or an ex-partner or whatever doesn't always work out, and it might have been seen as overtly romantic. It hasn't worked out for Ronaldo at United. Like, he's fought with the players who aren't at his standard as a player or as a trainer. Ollie actually did get quite a lot of goals out of Ronaldo, but Rangnick isn't using him properly. But still, I'm delighted he's at my football club. I know he cares about the club. I know he cares about the results. And I know he cares about the performances. And I can't say that for about 90% of the squad. Even though he's a multi-billionaire, he still feels like he's one of us. And I'm delighted he's at Manchester United.
Yeah. I mean, Luke Thomas injured now, Craig. I'm just looking on here. Like I say, it seems to be 1 in, 2 out all the time. We'll be without Jamie Vardy, which will probably please Darius. And indeed, as we now know, has gone out for the rest of the season. I mean, those two alone, as a Man United fan, you've got to be thinking, great.
Wow.
But for me,
really?
Yeah, and he's out for the rest of the season now.
I'm 100% on you, being like, I'm delighted that Jamie Vardy's playing. Not playing. But I would 100% want Wilfred Ndidi to play against Manchester United.
Well, yeah, I mean, had he not been injured, I think he probably would have done. But
what's your thoughts on Ndidi? Personally, for me, he's probably been the reason why you've been unable to get top 4 in the last couple of years. He's obviously a great tackler, but he's one of the worst ball players I've seen in the Premier League, and I checked a couple of days ago to make sure no one shouted at me, but he has the worst passing statistics of a central midfielder over the last 10 years.
I a few weeks ago, I'm not sure if you remember this, Chris, but I said I would not be surprised if indeed he was somebody who was sacrificed in the summer. If we're wanting to improve the team and get some decent money in for a player who has still got quite a high value, purely because of that. I think he is a very good ball recoverer. He covers a lot of ground, but you're right. What he does with the ball when he gets it leaves a lot to be desired. And I think if you're looking to improve and get to the next level, then you need to find a ball recoverer who can do something with the ball, like a Rice or whatever, but the next one in. And I think you're right. Indeed, he is limited in that fashion. I think what has helped him playing at Leicester is that when he wins it, he can give it to Tielemans or Maddison or Barnes if he manages to get it to them. And they can do it, and he gets away with it a little bit. But, I'm not going to knock Indeed because he has been fantastic. He covers so much ground, and he allows us to play with a defensive midfield of one. I hate having 2 defensive midfielders in any team. Southgate loves it. You've played with 2. Lots of teams play with 2. I hate it. And indeed, he covers enough ground to allow us to play with a 1. So from that perspective, I would say he's done a great job for us. But you're right, his what he does with the ball, it isn't great.
I mean, if he, I agree with you 100% there. I mean, if he was to go, I wouldn't want him to go because like you say, when it comes to tackles, there's none better. And whether you could say Mendy can almost do that, and I mean, Mendy is a better player at bringing the ball out. Yeah. And passing it out. Chowdhury, he's got to me now that stage where he's got we used to think when he came on there was a red card in him, and he's Rodgers has kind of worked that out of him. So he's possibly one for the future, if not now, literally. And then of course we've got Sumari in there as well. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what does happen there. But Albrighton is back. We've got Luke Thomas to say is a doubt with a hamstring, but you've got Castagna and Ricardo. I mean, we just have injuries all the time. What is going on, Craig?
Yeah, I know. It seems weird. And it's a lot of muscle injuries as well. I mean, indeed, he was unfortunate. He was in a block tackle and he twisted his knee on it. Luke Thomas was away, with England when he picked up that strain. I mean, he's a young player. It's the most he's played this season. So I think it's sort of catching up with him a little bit. But we do have, you would hope that Ricardo is fit, Castagna's fit, and James Justin, who was absolutely fantastic, wasn't he? I don't know how people of other clubs saw James Justin, particularly last season, but he was knocking on the door of the England squad, and he would have been in it if he hadn't picked up that horrific injury. But he's come back and starting to look more like his old self. So I think if Thomas was going to go down, now's the right time for it to happen when we've got some players back.
Yeah, and just mentioning that on the England front, on Sunday at 6:00, myself, Brad, and Dan are going to be picking our 23 to go with England. And Brad's already promised to be controversial, and we're going to be doing that, of course, with nobody's we're going to be wearing their top 6 glasses, so we might see some interesting selections. Darius, it says here that Cavani is a doubt after picking up a calf injury playing for Uruguay. Luke Shaw has recovered from illness, while midfielder Paul Pogba has shaken off a foot problem. But the real bad news is that Ronaldo is fit.
Yeah, I mean, Cavani is essentially the Gareth Bale of Manchester United. We don't see a lot from him. He was like last season. He genuinely turned into one of my favourite ever signings because we had 2 absolute bangers of songs. He was running around the pitch. He was scoring goals. There's something like about South Americans with long hair heading the ball. Like Marcelo Salas and players like that. It was absolutely quality. He wanted to leave in the summer. He was told no, and he just has checked out. He's rarely fit for games, rarely makes himself available, pulls out all the time. We are devastated with him. He really felt like that he had stopped the curse of the number 7, and now, injured off international duty. But that Fred he'll be raring to play at the weekend, even if I'm not sure he'll start. Luke Shaw. It's very difficult to understand what's going on with Luke Shaw. Last season, he was one of the best fullbacks in the world. He banged a great goal for England in the final. It really looked like him and Maguire had sort of like stepped up to elite level performers. And this season, I mean, I don't know if this is true or not, but I've read a lot about how Jamie Vardy bangs like Red Bulls and espressos like as part of his pre-match ritual. Shaw's back on the custard again. Really, really poor performances. Like Pogba, personally, I wouldn't be that disappointed if Paul Pogba never played for Manchester United again.
Yeah.
Absolute disgrace. He's got to be one of the biggest flops the Premier League has ever seen. He has no commitment to the club. I think he's a nice guy, and I do think that he's quite professional and cares about Man United. It's just he just sort of lacks in the brain about what to do. He's not there when the chips are down. There's no fire in him. So I'd like not to see him play. I'm extremely pleased that Thomas isn't playing. Like you were saying, what you thought that rival clubs saw in him. I saw a player I wanted to sign. I'd take both your fullbacks in a heartbeat. I really like Ricardo Pereira. I'm not sure. Like, has he been injured most of the season?
He has.
Yeah, it's that £80 million training ground, isn't it? Lots of martial histories. I'm a big fan of both of your fullbacks. I really, really, really like them, and they're miles above what we have at right back. Certainly in attacking quality, and as we've seen, like right back and left back have become one of the most important creative positions on a football pitch. So we've got to find a way of shutting down Pereira tomorrow. But presumably he's not going to last the full match if he's just coming back from injury.
I mean, Ant's just said there, and good evening to Ant, another great Leicester channel, Ant's Leicester Fan channel. Get over there and give him your support. Ronaldo not with the United 21-man squad tonight from Samuel Lockhurst. And while you were just talking there, I just Googled Ronaldo. And I just wanted to say, you've got to love the British press, haven't you? So in the Manchester Evening News, if you Google Ronaldo, it comes up, Manchester United squad versus Leicester City revealed as Cristiano Ronaldo absent. So it looks like he's not going to be playing. But then there's also a link for the Daily Star. And that link for Ronaldo was Lionel Messi superfan, Miss Bum Bum, mocks Cristiano Ronaldo's trophyless season.
Yeah. Yeah, Miss Bum Bum.
I mean, well done the Star for finding that. I mean, what the, you got to love the British press, haven't you?
Well, Samuel Luckhurst is very, very tied in to United. He's the Manchester Evening News chief correspondent for United. Ronaldo has been missing from quite a lot of squads. Like pictured leaving the squad and then ended up playing. I haven't seen the full story, but I'd be surprised if Ronaldo isn't playing because, I mean, just off the top of my head, what are we going to do? We're going to play Rashford, Cavani out, Ronaldo out. We have maybe Rashford's not a striker. We've got an extremely hyped youth academy prospect called Charlie McNeil, but he's not ready for Premier League football.
I'm just reading, this is what it says in the Manchester Evening News, Darius. Ronaldo played 180 minutes across 2 World Cup qualifiers, as Portugal secured their spot in Qatar, but was not among the United players gathering with Ralph Rangnick's 21-man squad.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. His girlfriend, Georgina Rodriguez, is pregnant, which may be the reason for his absence. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, this is all right. Like lots of players don't travel with the squad sometimes at United. Like when you're like global superstars, as some of those boys are, they make like mad commitments to do stuff like the day before a match. I personally think it's a bit ridiculous that they should be preparing for the game, but I can't tell Ronaldo how to prepare for a football match. As much as I'd love to, just bed at 10.
Let's hope. From my point of view, let's hope that he isn't there.
Who are you most worried about from the United team? Is it Ronaldo?
I'll let you answer that one, Craig.
That's a very good question because it used to be, you worried about most players, didn't you, at Man United? But this day and age, I'd be quite happy if Pogba played because, as you said, I'm not a fan. I was shocked that you didn't sell him when you had the chance. When his value was high and you could reinvest that money.
We tried to. COVID.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. You've got the resurgent Fred playing as a sort of hybrid 6 and 10. He's to be fair, he's had a couple of great games for us against you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, you've got the young guy. I can't remember his name.
Sancho?
Elanga.
Elanga. Rhythm as a dancer.
Yeah. I mean, he's looked bright, in patches. But again, young players, you can't rely on them week in, week out to do it. So I don't. It's a really interesting question. Who we fear, and it probably is Ronaldo, but he didn't really turn up against us at the King Power. So I'm not sure. I still think Fernandes on his day is a great player.
Yeah.
But what you need is, to wind him up early, and then he seems to get more interested in having little running battles with opposition players and the referee, and stops concentrating on his game.
It will be interesting to see if we take an early lead and it is Maguire's fault. I was joking on this on Rich's channel last night that I said, I don't know what the final score will be, but I'll be Leicester to go 1-0 ahead, and it'll be a Maguire own goal. That would be very interesting to see the crowd's reaction to that. But just a few did you knows. Cristiano Ronaldo has scored 12 Premier League goals this season, and it's the competition's. In the competition history, only Zola has scored more in a single campaign, while aged 36 or over, with 14. So Ronaldo could still beat that. Man United have scored a league-high 10 goals via substitutes this season. Leicester won this fixture 2-1 last season, as we know, and now have the chance to win consecutive away league matches against Man United for the first time ever. And if we beat you, then we be the first time we've done the league double over you as well. So all to play for, Ant says here, it's a good point. I'm more fearful of Leicester than I am of United. We can lose this game ourselves more than United can hurt us. Very true, Ant. Very, very true.
Outrageous.
Well, we're going to end now, and as you know, we always end with the old score predictions. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I do it. Craig knows this, but I do it, Darius, with ex-Leicester players, and to say that they're not actually confident is a bit of an understatement, really, because apart from me, nobody's gone for a Leicester win. But then again, that might explain why I'm bottom of the prediction table this season with the way we've been playing. Ian Marshall's gone 2-1 United. Steve Walsh has gone 1-1. Taggart's gone 2-2, and Jerry Taggart is top of the league. Steve Lynitz went 1-1 there, but in last night's show, Steve went for a Leicester win, and Ian Wilson's gone for a 3-1 to United. But me, well, I can't go against my team. I've gone 2-1 to Leicester. I think it's as good a time as we're going to get to do the double over you, and fingers crossed. Craig, optimistic, pessimistic? What would your score prediction be?
I'm fully splintered and on the fence. I really shouldn't have worn shorts. For me, it's got a draw written all over it. So I'm going to go 1-1.
Would you take that if it was offered to you now?
I probably would, because that's just what I think is going to happen. In the big scheme of things, yes. I don't even think 3 points makes a big difference to us, to be honest, because there's too many teams and too big a gap above us for us to be challenging to qualify for Europe. We've got a big game in the week, the first leg of the conference game against PSV. I think Brendan would happily take a 1-1 and walk away, and I tend to agree.
Villa are one place ahead of us in ninth, but again with 36 points. So exactly the same points, but we have got 2 games in hand. But then, yes, it is a 10-point jump up to Wolverhampton. But we have got 3 games in hand on Wolves, which is 9 points if we were to win those. I mean, it's a very difficult season with so many teams on so many different games. Darius, your score prediction?
Well, looking at your score predictions from the ex-Leicester players, that is post-traumatic stress disorder from having to play good United teams, isn't it? I'm with Walshy on this. I think it's 1-1. I think that I can't see United not scoring a lot of goals at the moment. We don't have a clear plan to goal. And our defence is in disarray. I am tempted by the 0-0, but I think that both teams are gettable. But yeah, I think it's 1-1.
I've never gone for a 0 on the Leicester half of my prediction this season. Although, and I was doing a quiz the other night, and we're actually there are 4 teams that have got less clean sheets than us now, Craig. So maybe we're turning it around.
Wow.
You know, guys, it has been brilliant. Darius, you are, as I say, a really, really interesting Manchester United fan. You speak sensibly, and I don't think you're going to get 4th this season. I think it might just be a bit beyond you, but do say good luck for the rest of the season, Sunday onwards. Your links are in the chat below on YouTube, but do give a shout out to where people can find you.
I suppose that the best place to find me would be on the Manchester United agenda, which is you just put that in YouTube and Twitter, and there it is. But yeah, thank you so much for having me on. It's been great to talk to fellow football fans. And apart from tomorrow, I wish you well in the wars to come.
Of course. Well, we might be doing this again Monday night, so one of us could be happy, one of us might not be. You know?
Yeah.
But no, thanks very much for everything, Darius, and I say possibly see you on Monday night. And thank you very much.
Cheers, Darius.
Cheers, lads.
Cheers. Take care. Bye-bye. Rich has just sneaked in at the end there with a 2-1 to United. Seems to be quite a popular one, that, with the ex-players, Rich. I hope you are well. What do you think, Rich, about the Ronaldo not travelling? Is it normal, as Darius was saying, or could it be a little bit more serious than that?
I think personally, I think just Ronaldo will just turn up and play. I think he has his own agenda, and you know, it's like we do. Obviously, Jamie Vardy always travels, but I think we protect him in terms of training and don't put him under too much pressure. I would imagine it's the same with Ronaldo, that he's played a couple of games. Does he need to be training? I don't think so. He just needs to be resting up and prepare for a game. So I would not be surprised if his name is on the team sheet.
The only other thing, of course, is he is 26 or 36, is it? So, you know, maybe age is slowly catching up, even with Ronaldo. Who knows? Craig, thank you so much, sir. A pleasure as always. And I've got a Watford fan, by the way, for the quiz.
Excellent.
You know,
excellent.
So
I'll get working.
Get working, yeah. And can you message me some dates when you know that you're free, and I can try and arrange something on that, because it's going to be difficult.
I could probably set up a full quiz just on Watford's managers over the last 3 years.
You probably could. You probably could. How many can you name? We'll have to have 2 of them. I'll name 4. I'll name 5. Name them. You know. Next. So tomorrow we've got the live watch along. Myself and Mike, a Manchester United fan. It's always fun doing watch along when you've got another, you know, the fan from the other club on with you. So depends how quickly he can get back from his Newport game. And then, of course, we've got the post-match show with Brad. After that, 6 o'clock on Sunday, we've got the Pick Your England Squad show. And in fact, I sent Rich an invitation, and only afterwards I realised he's a Welsh fan. What is he going to do? And then we're back to kind of normal next week. We've got, obviously, also the midweek European game. But next Friday, I'm going to ask if you can maybe do it later again, but I will message you, because at 7 o'clock, I will be talking to John Morgan, the ex Leicester City women's manager.
Oh, right. Excellent. Yeah. I've heard him doing some co-commentary. He sounds like a nice guy.
He does. Very nice guy. So that's 7 o'clock next Friday. So sorry to invade on our time. It's taken ages to kind of come up with a date when he's available. Craig, thanks very much. Your link's in there as well on your Twitter. Yep. Take care, buddy, and I will speak to you soon. And if you're doing nothing in about 12 minutes, get over to Turf Moorhouse TV when I'm doing my 3rd show of the day, and Dan's as well, so we'll be knackered. We're doing the prediction show on Turf Moor TV. Thanks very much, Craig. Take care, mate.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks, everybody. Like I say, all those shows coming up next week. The main one tomorrow is at 4:30ish, we're going to be doing the live watch along. So get with us then. And really looking forward to that next week. Hopefully Leicester will have won a game because we're not going on the back of the 9-0 defeat. Whoops. But yes, I'm sure that will crop up. Thanks so much, everybody. I'm going to have to rush because I've got to get up to Burnley in about 13 minutes. Thanks very much. Take care. Stay safe. See you later. Goodbye now.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.